For as long as anyone could remember, Charles Whitmore's mansion stood like a fortress of silence on the edge of town. The billionaire had one unbreakable rule: no children allowed inside. Guests could sip champagne under the crystal chandeliers. Politicians could make deals in the walnut-paneled library. But the sound of childish laughter or tiny footsteps was strictly forbidden. People whispered about why. Some said Charles despised children because of his cold upbringing. Others claimed he saw them as distractions in a world where focus meant fortune. The truth was simpler and sadder. Charles had once lost a son in a tragic accident, and ever since, he sealed his heart away from the sound of youth. Then came Maria, his maid. Quiet, hardworking, never intrusive, Maria knew the rules better than anyone. She never dared step beyond her duties. But life doesn't always respect rules. One rainy afternoon, Maria faced a dilemma. The babysitter she'd hired canceled at the last minute, and she had no choice but to bring her 6-year-old twins, Lily and Lucas, with her to work. She begged them to stay quiet, promising them cookies afterward if they behaved. The children agreed, wide-eyed and curious as they stepped into the cavernous marble hall of Whitmore's estate. At first, all went well. The twins sat in a corner of the kitchen with coloring books, while Maria polished silver. But children, being children, don't stay still for long. Lucas wandered off, chasing the echo of his own footsteps, while Lily followed the scent of roses into the indoor conservatory. That's where Charles found them. The billionaire had just returned from a tense board meeting, his mood darker than the storm outside. When he spotted 2 tiny strangers crouched by his rare orchids, his voice thundered through the glass-ceilinged room. "What are children doing in my house?" Maria froze, her heart pounding as she rushed in. She stammered apologies, bracing herself for the inevitable dismissal, maybe worse. But before she could gather the twins, something unexpected happened. Lily looked up at Charles, holding out a rose petal that had fallen. "Your flowers are sad," she said softly. "They need more sunlight." Charles blinked, caught off guard. No one had spoken to him like that in years. Simply, without fear, without agenda. Lucas chimed in, tugging at Charles's sleeve. "Do you have toys? This house is too quiet." For the first time in decades, Charles didn't know how to respond. His instinct was to call for security, to reassert the old rule, but when he looked down at their innocent faces, something inside him stirred. A memory of his own son's laughter, locked away behind years of grief. Maria expected rage, but instead, Charles crouched awkwardly. "What are your names?" he asked, his voice gentler. From that moment something shifted. The twins became unlikely guests of honor. They asked questions about the mansion, about the paintings, about why he lived alone in such a big place. And with every question, Charles felt walls he had built around his heart begin to crumble. Later that evening, while Maria prepared dinner, she peeked into the grand hall and saw something she never imagined: the billionaire, sprawled on the floor, building towers out of dominoes with Lucas, while Lily braided ribbons into his gray hair. The mansion, once haunted by silence, rang with laughter. When the night ended, Charles stood by the door as Maria gathered her children. His eyes lingered on the twins, and for the first time in years, he smiled. Not the polite smile he wore at business galas, but a real, human smile. "Maria," he said quietly, "if ever you need to bring them again, don't hesitate."